A very warm welcome to you all. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. And today I'm really excited to moderate this beautiful panel we have with us. And before we begin the discussion, the insightful discussion on tea on table, culture, craft, and commerce, before that, I would want my panelists to introduce yourself, a brief introduction from all of you about yourself and your brand. So we'll begin with Kazim.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for having me. My name is Kazem Samandari. I am the co-founder and executive chairman of L'Opéra. This is a chain of French bakery and pastry operations, which is based currently mainly in Delhi NCR.
Hi everyone, my name is Chef Gauri and I'm the founder and owner of a company called Confect, which means anything that's made with sugar. So what we do is we manufacture about 800 products, the largest in the country as of now, the only one to export. And you would find them in bakeries, hotels, teaching academies with home bakers. So anything that you need to decorate a cake with is something that we make.
My name is Samantha Kocher. I am the managing director of the Blossom Kocher group of companies. And of course, we come from the beauty industry. But there is a segment of ours, which is, it's around 8 years old, which has gone into food. And beauty, wellness, food is something that our brand is solidly looking into. And we started with a small vertical called the Tea Room, the Blossom Kocher Tea Room. And now we are number 14 in Asia with that brand. And there's another one that's coming up very strongly with us is Bite Terra, which is in packed food. And that's what I manage and we are moving towards. So nice to be here with my wonderful panel and all of you here.
Hi, I'm Gaurav Kanwar. I'm the founder of Harajuku Tokyo Cafe and Bakehouse. We started off small 4 years ago with Delhi NCR and we've now recently launched in Mumbai, looking forward at making Japanese food accessible, affordable and palatable across the country. Thank you.
Thanks, Gaurav. So now, moving on with our discussion about tea on the table, I have a common question for the entire panel. As we talk about tea and coffee culture in India, it has evolved miraculously. Like I would say, I've seen like from the baristas to cafe coffee days to many international brands. Now we are hovered with, so many brands in India and it is doing very well. The numbers which in the morning Pratima was telling that next 10 years and we see India on the, top for having the best coffee houses in the world. So with tea and coffee, which we know is deeply rooted in our tradition, but each one of you is pushing the boundaries with innovation at your brands. So what does modern tea and coffee culture mean to you and your brand? We'll start with you, Kazim.
I would like to give a small precision to your statement. It is true that India is the country known for tea. And I would like to say that the coffee culture is relatively new. And there is a transition happening, particularly within the younger generations, that they are adopting coffee, not instead, but at least on top of their tea culture. So this is, we are totally in this evolution. And usually the way it happens is that usually people, they start with instant coffee and then they start brewing the coffee at home and then they go outside and have coffee in coffee houses. So it's important to see how this whole thing can evolve. And that's why we have the optimism that this market is going to grow. And besides optimism, it's a truth. The numbers show that there is, particularly in the coffee sector, we have an annual growth rate which is between 12 and 14%, which is huge. Now, what is happening, in my humble opinion, is that it's not just the coffee, but it's the experience. And this is where we have placed our own activities. And we believe we are not the only ones, but others. So it is the atmosphere, it is the coffee, it is the decoration, it is the music, it is the smell, it is the whole ceremony of enjoying coffee, which makes it different. And that's where I believe it is, although we do also deliveries, home deliveries, but it's not the same thing if you receive a cup of coffee in a paper glass delivered at your door, or you sit down in one of our outlets or other people's outlets and enjoy your coffee, seeing what's happening around you.
Thank you. Thank you for your suggestion. Yes, over to you.
So I want to address the topic around tea. And coffee's always been there in desserts for the longest amount of time, but tea is something that is just blown up. So of course we've been seeing matcha that has surfaced of late, but there's also tea like hojucha, which is unbelievable. It's just a process of further drying out and fermenting tea leaves. And the flavor is fantastic. I had the privilege of tasting some the other week, and I was so excited to experiment with it. Having said that, tea pairs unbelievably beautifully with pastry. So what it does is it gives it it cleanses your palate as you eat. So what it does, it allows you to taste the depth of flavor, and you can have a lot more. It also gives you connectivity and a more luxurious experience, because you can actually tie tea in different ways to different kinds of pastries. In the US and in England as well as in Japan, there's tea cultures already very prevalent in the pastry world. Earl Grey is one that's used a lot. Matcha is actually one of my least favorite ones. It's actually the old heritage teas that really work beautifully with pastry and give it that depth. So I think it's a match made in heaven. I think the only way it's going to go is up. However, I do think that as opposed to only sticking to stuff that comes from maybe Japan or the other parts of the world, there's so much that India has to offer, which beautifully pairs with our traditional pastry. And then let's not forget, we've always had chai and biscuit, right? So it's always been that kind of combination, and it's been in our heritage forever. So we're just taking it to another level going forward.
Thanks.
So basically, my family comes in from the tea estates and coffee estates from South India, and so before we even entered beauty, we were already. I grew up on estates, and there was a ceremony. There was a lot of ceremony attached to drinking your coffee in the morning or having your tea in the evening. And I have another thing is that I'm Eurasian. A Eurasian person is I have Indian origin. But from my maternal side, that's my mother, I'm part Portuguese, part English and Irish. And so I have a lot of mixed lineage happening. And with the mixed lineage and, we are expats, 3 generations living in the southern hills of India from the Nilgiris. So tea became a time when we all cousins and family used to actually gather around and have our tea. And, we used to have the English style life, because my grandmother was English. It used to be the 3-layered, tea ceremony that used to happen. And the cooks in the old tea estates used to create eats with it. And I remember when I came back to North India, where my father comes from, we only had chai. But, the brewing of tea was not such. There was a ceremony, but you'll have the pakoras and you'll have everything happening in the evening. And when it came down to actually opening something and naming something that we wanted to create for our customers, when they'd have their spa treatments, we came up with the name, the Tea Room. And the Tea Room actually specializes in a lot of different teas. And we have the Nilgiris teas, we have tea, like what we just heard is there's so much of Indian teas that can be offered to your consumers. And the whole process of what goes with the tea and that experience, what we were talking about is what the Tea Room, we decided to give it. If you come to the Tea Room, it's like, very old wooden floors, very rustic walls, beams. It looks like a kitchen, and that's where I had my tea, and that's how the tea room looks like. So we decided to give that. And also about the coffee, like when you come from the estates, the coffee was brewed by the servants, by the housekeeper first thing in the morning. So when coffee is as much a staple for an Indian as much as I feel tea is. And a lot happens over chai. Relationships are made, divorces happen, and we come out about our deepest secrets. And I think it's not the booze, but it's the chai that does the magic for us Indians.
Superb.
I think even with the way this panel is going on, there's a large audience, and there's an audience for every type of an experience and every type of a tea or a coffee for that matter. I feel tea is no longer the same humble, simple drink that it used to be in India and even in Japan for that matter. It's being rediscovered, reimagined, and we've got an audience from the purist that would want to experience a pure Indian tea or a single origin loose tea leaf to the trend savvy consumers who are more interested in beverages like a matcha, hojicha, or even artisanal boba teas for that matter. So I think tea is tea is being used as an ingredient, as an experimental ingredient across chefs, across mixologists, and there's a lot of play that is happening in tea and coffee both.
Thanks. So, moving on to the discussion further, Kazim, I have a question for you. What are the recent innovations at La Opera which you've incorporated in your business, for your business growth in the next 5 years? Like the recent, because everybody's incorporated AI, digital, and tech is used everywhere. So at La Opera, what are the recent innovations you've incorporated in your business for the growth?
Your question is wide. It's not necessarily just about tea. So, or you're asking you want me to give also a broad answer. Yes?
Definitely.
Okay. So I think from our perspective, the most recent innovations that we are implementing is to add a very large offering of eggless French pastries. And this, I must say, it's a very, very difficult task because we are known for authentic French products.
Yes.
And coming with authentic French products without using egg, that's a tall order. But I am delighted to say it depends always on the creativity of your executive chefs. And we have a fantastic executive chef. And just recently, we introduced the eggless millefeuille, which in my opinion is even tastier than the regular millefeuille, which uses eggs. There is, that's one area that is, so it is eggless products. And then we have the increased use of locally available fruit. It may sound something very normal, but this season we had one particular product which was very, very hot selling. It is a mango shaped. We call it. It is Alfonso. It's called Alfonso pastry, and it is sold out every day within hours. So you can take existing fruits, existing ingredients, and innovate and make something which is really, really very special. And the last one, the innovation. I don't believe that you have to be always creating everything from nothing. You can also bring an idea which has been created somewhere else. That's how Japanese did it, by the way. A lot of Japanese products, also industrial products, they are not innovative by their own, but they take an idea and they improve it and make it better than the original one. And one of those things that we have introduced, which is also an extremely successful product, it is the L'Opera interpretation and version of the famous Dubai Kunafa chocolate, which is really, it is extremely successful. And by common judgment, it is almost better than the original.
Okay.
So
yes.
same question?
No, I have a different question for you. So, because you being, an expert as a chef and so as a pastry chef and creative food stylist, as you were just mentioning, how do you see tea influencing or inspiring dessert design and sugar artistry today?
Oh my God. Okay.
So, because it's a combination of, tea and your expertise in dessert.
Absolutely. So, I'm going to fill in a few blanks here. In addition to being, I was previously a French trained pastry chef, and now I'm a full blown mad scientist. So, I'm a food technologist. And when I can't find a solution to something, I just make it. And that's how it's always been from the first day. Tea of late is something that I've become very fascinated with. Whether it's in, and I actually like it in its powder form. So, either spray dried or freeze dried in some way, because that will enhance what I need for it to do in pastry as an application. And like I said, that desserts have always internationally had tea from as long as I can remember. When I was studying in the UK, their tea, which is traditional over there, is always, pastries and tea served together. And I think that's where India is coming to now. More than that, I think tea has also been glamorized by the whole, iced tea, isn't it? Not the iced tea, but like the iced latte tea or the iced masala tea, which is also going to come in cans very soon. So it's going to be something that's going to be running off the shelves. Masala chai has been a part of, I think, every Indian restaurant's pastry menu in some form or the other. And what I really liked was the innovation that they did with the powders, because that made it really easy for us to bring it into pastry, and it really maintained the texture as well as the stability of pastry. Tea itself is very difficult to do. And in fact, I was researching last night, and thanks for having me, because it got me thinking about tea as a product and what I could do for the bakery world. So I'm actually working on a line of tea-based syrups now, which no one has done. And I've always been ahead of the time. So imagine if you had a green tea flavored syrup. It would really cut down cost, it will cut down production time, it will cut down anything that can go wrong, which pretty much does in a kitchen most days. And similarly with matcha, Earl Grey, Assam, Darjeeling, there's so much to do. So I'm really excited because that's where I'm heading with the syrups at least. And that can go into your pastry, your mousses, it can go into your cakes, fillings, frostings, you name it. And the second thing is that the powders. So I saw this really cool video where you just take, you can infuse tea powders into chocolate. So he was talking about doing kunafa and the Dubai chocolate, but how about really coming up with, imagine like a masala tea flavored chocolate with a filling in it. I think it'll be really nice because it's going to go really, really well with how a well-paired chocolate will be. And that's what I'm all about now. So I'm imbibing these tea powders into chocolate as well. So these are the two massive things that I see coming in the next 3 or 4 years. And I actually want to be the first one to dip my toe in this.
All the best for that. I'm sure it's going to be a very rocking startup. Okay, moving on to you, Samantha. So as we all know that Samantha